Obviously, there's been lots of conversations around the gacha system. We're not going into the gacha system again, which is better, which is worse, all that sort of stuff. But I suppose we are, because this is what we're doing. But like, we're looking at objective information here rather than subjective opinions around the gacha system. But my subjective opinion, what I believed from the get-go, was that I thought Enfield was going to give you more characters in less pools and more weapons in less pools. But if pity was important, you know, then that was more important for you, right? You know, if you needed the safety net of pity, even though it's a bit of a fake safety net, it's psychologically tricking you into it to spend more because you've got that safety net. And something like Wuthering Waves is probably better, especially considering it's got the weapon guarantee. So this TLDR on this kind of backs up what I said. So we'll read that, and then we'll go through some of the other stuff as well, okay? So let's have a look at the too long don't read of the statistical analysis of Enfield and other gacha systems. So, best for characters, Arknights Enfield. As I said, I think that's kind of obvious when you look at raw pool numbers. It just takes less, right? There's a safety net that stops you from being extremely unlucky. Best for weapons, Arknights Enfield. It gives you tons of extra high value items while chasing the main one. That's the thing as well. There's less of the crap in the banners as well in this game. I like it when games keep characters in character banners and weapons in weapon banners, so you aren't just getting spooked by trash, right? Now, safest option for weapons is Wuthering Waves, because that makes sense. You've got a guaranteed banner, right? You know, it has a weapon banner, it's 100% guaranteed. No gambling on a coin flip, so that is a good thing, right? But the run up to that weapon, usually in Wuthering Waves, is a lot of hot garbage, right? A lot of hot garbage, if you know what I mean. It's just how it is, right? It's a payoff. Guarantee, a lot of crap, you know. With Enfield, a lot more usable items, but, you know, you're losing that safety net, if you will, I guess. Baseline's easy. It's not really expensive nor cheap. Most expensive Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. You need more pulls on average than the others. So, according to the statistics, and I think that's not something that, I don't think that's like a surprise, really, right? Because the rates are a little bit higher in Wura as well. It takes 10 less pulls to get a character, and you got a weapon guarantee. So, it's just you're gonna get stuff faster on average, aren't you, really? So, it makes sense. But, again, I do want to add this, because I always add this, because I think it's the most important thing to gacha games. None of this fucking matters if the pull economy is shit. And at the moment, the pull economy is not great. So, I just want to add that in there as well, right? So, let's have a little read through some stuff. We're not going to go through everything, because there's a lot of, look, guys, there's a lot of stuff here. But let's try and touch on stuff that looks important, okay? So, let's have a look at this. Let's add this edit in here, because this is somebody coming up with a correction. I just found out that my 3 5-star weapon pull assumption for Genshin's epitomized path system is wrong, which means the Genshin weapon pulls are calculated incorrectly, and Genshin should be just a bit below HSR because of the slight rate difference, 0.8 to 0.7, and not by a lot as before, so it's a bit closer. So I think he was having a bit of a gap, but it's a lot closer now. It also means Genshin's collateral value goes down a bit, boys, a bit, since you potentially only get 2 weapons instead of 3. I will change everything tomorrow, since it's quite late here right now, and I would like to apologise again for this mistake. You guys probably can't hear me, but I can hear my parrot whistling in the background, and usually it does my head in, but I'm loving it at the minute, because if you guys didn't know, the last couple of weeks he hasn't been very well, and he's a warrior, man. He seems like he's come round now, and he's been on his antibiotics, and he's looking good. And when I start recording videos and talking, he starts whistling away. So I'm happy to hear it, actually. So you probably can't hear it, but I just wanted to say that. Hello, everybody. Recently, as we all know, a massive surge of questions regarding the gacha and how free-to-play friendly it is has popped up from both base Arknights players and players from other gacha games interested in Arknights Enfield. Most of the times, the same question has been repeated, and justifiably, people are tired of answering the same thing over and over again. So he thought he'd break down the stats. Because even still to this day, there is people parroting this idea that it is the worst gacha system of all time, which I think is silly in itself, but let's have a look then. So, first quick summary of Enfield's system. We know the base are 6-star drop rate 0.8%, hard bid is 80 for a guaranteed 6-star, that's a 50-50, soft 50 ramp up at 66 pull, so it's 65, I think it goes up 5%, yeah, adds 5% to the drop rate for every pull, 66 to 80, so the rate's fine. I know a lot of people are like, the rates are trash, they should have won up to Wuthering Waves, but I think they're already doing that with the Spark system and the fact that within 120 pulls, you're guaranteed 2 6-stars. I think that's already an improvement. I think if they started ramping up the rates too much, and if we get rid of the Spark system, it's going to take at least 160 pulls to get your guarantee. They would have to do that, otherwise it would just be ridiculous. 50-50 mechanic, 0 to 80 pulls, 50% chance to get the feature 6-star. We know this. Lost pull remaining 50% includes standard 6-stars and previous 2 limited featured characters. The crossover thing we got now, we know that. Hard guarantee the Spark, 120 pull. And we know that's going to be a one-time featured only. If it's attained before the 120, this guarantees loss. It doesn't carry over. So if you get the character at 80 pulls, the spark's gone. You don't get it again at 120. You get it again at 240. So every 240 pulls from 0, you get a spark. So for Wales, it actually means they're going to probably get the characters much earlier on, unless they're just super lucky, because you're probably going to be winning 50-50s here and there in between those 240s as well. And the pities don't cross over. So if you get like a character right before your spark still counting on those ones, right? That spark is a separate thing, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, right? But I'm like 99% sure I'm right on that, right? Because when I was watching Keo, he was getting lots of certain copies, and that pity for the spark was still carrying down every single time, right? So it's a separate pity altogether, isn't it? So the pity carrier over the 80 pull, pity carrier carries over, the 120 doesn't, and that's the one thing right there, right? Listen to all the other stuff and people see that worst system ever, which I just think's funny. You know, base 5-star 8% every 10 pulls, you know that. 4-star 91%. So you know, my luck so far is 1 every 10 pulls, and 9 of these fuckers, so I'm getting the worst possible luck. Limited weapon man is a 6-star at 4%, great rates. 5-star at 15%, pity system. 5 stars every 10 pulls, 6-star every 40 pulls. So basically, if you go to the worst luck possible at 120 pulls, you're going to get yourself a 6-star weapon, which is like 4.2. So it's like 8,560, I think, for 120 at the worst possible. That's 9 4-stars, 1 5-star every 10, losing your 50-50 all the way to 120, right? The 25-75 mechanic pump pulling a 6-star, 25% chance to be the featured 6-star weapon, 75% chance to be the standard 6-star. Guarantee mechanic, the rate up 6-star is guaranteed at 80 pulls, which is 10 pulls, because you do it in like 10 pulls kind of thing, like, and it's limited once per banner. And then there's also a multitude of other things. Getting a copy after 120 pulls, the 100 guarantee, a total of 240, so we're on the 240. Getting 10 pulls for the next banner after hitting 60 pulls on a banner is the this is the dossier system. So at 60 pulls, you get a dossier that opens up on the next banner, and that gives you 10 pulls on the next banner. So basically, if you've done 60 pulls on a banner, you've kind of got 10 pity on the next banner, but you have to use it, otherwise it goes away. So you might as well just use it. Who knows? You get lucky. That is a psychological thing to make you think, ooh, shall I carry on pulling? It's only another 50, 56 till I hit the pity. But if you don't want to, just don't do it. Just use that dossier and then move on to the next banner. You might get lucky, right? And because the way the game works, it won't hurt you to get lucky in that 10 pull dossier. Just use it and move on. That's what I'd suggest to do, right? It can really be a positive thing for you, and you never know. Here and there, you might just get crap luck with it, right? It's free real estate. So now with the other way to the way, here are my findings. Key terms, just for the sake of brevity. Paul, he's just going through the terminology here. We don't really need to listen to that, because we know what that is, right? We all know what a pull is. Guarantee is a spark, featured max rarity. Collateral, the extra stuff you get while chasing the main prize. High collateral means you get lots of other max rarity items along the way. Cost of gold, and of course, okay. So, the world for the experiment consists of around 20 million simulated sessions of pulling on the standard for base Arknights, limited for all character banners, and limited weapon banners for all except base Arknights. 20 million sessions, hear me, 20 million independent and independently distributed players pulling until they achieve the first copy of the featured rate up limited character weapon. So the first rate up character and the weapon. So your very first one, 50-50 losses are taken into consideration as well during your calculations. Also, the sessions are being simulated as snipe scenarios to make sure you, the player, can get the idea of the absolute worst case scenario, as well as where you lose to an unwanted featured operator. This is only for games with 2 featured characters on can be present on a banner at the same time, i.e. Arknights OG. But since you're doing it this way would be unfair. I added the collateral system, which is the collateral system, the extra stuff you get while chasing the main prize. High collateral means you get lots of other max rarity items along the way. So, independent, each of the 20 million runs is a separate isolated event. The outcome of one run, e.g. user 1, has absolutely no influence on the outcome of another run, e.g. user 2. Identically distributed, every run uses the exact same set of rules, rates, pity, guarantee, logic, and probability distributions. Alright? So, let's have a look at the statistical summary here then. The lowdown of the current problem of Enfield, the gacha system is fine, but the economy needs fixing. Agree, yeah, agree. I think that's a main factor. Fix that, it's fine for me. It's fine for me. The gacha system itself is fine. Okay then, so we've got character banners. So we've got Arknights base standard, Arknights base limited, Enfield, Wiwa, Genshin, ZZZ, and Honkai Star Rail. So the mean for Arknights base, 66. 95 for limited on Arknights, 81 on Enfield, 81 on Wuthering Waves, 90 on Genshin Impact, 93 on Zenless, 93 on Star Rail. So we've got the deviations here. Arknights base limited has the biggest deviation here as well. 90% was 130 on Arknights, 220 on limiteds, 120 on Enfield, 140 on Wuthering Waves, 155 on Genshin, 155 on Zenith, and 155 on Star Rail. So you can clearly see there, 90% doing it 120, 99% 120, max observed 120, which we all know. If you go worst case scenario, Enfield is the better system, right? Now, RNG plays a big factor into this. You could do your first pull on any of these games and get the character. We all know that's the case, right? But, you know, the likelihood of that's a bit low. But, yeah, you can see for Arknights Standard, 220, Limited, 300. So, we can see that by far, Enfield is just the best one here for your max, right? See Wuthering Waves 155 here. We know that, like, the max is 160, possibly, right? But, you know, when it comes to rates and stuff, they do have a factor. So, you're still doing it in 35 less pulls, right? And the thing there as well, these obviously are to get your guarantees. So you've got your two 5 stars here, you've got 2 6 stars here, but then Enfield brings in the weapons as well. So with Wuthering Waves here, right, which is the closest to you, you've now got to start pulling on your weapon mana. You've got to do the same with Enfield, but those 120 pulls now, right, your worst case scenario, your max, has guaranteed you a 6-star weapon on the banner for the weapons, you know? So, that's the thing that has to be taken into account. I keep saying this to people. The Arsenal tickets has to be looked at when you talk about the gacha system in this game. And, of course, rates in-game, which hopefully get better on the launch. So, weapon banners. Enfield, Wuthering Waves, ZZZ, Star Rail, and Genshin Impact. And the max observed for Enfield was 80, because we know that. Wuthering Waves 79, because we know that there's a guarantee at 80, and you can't go any further than that anyway. ZZZ 153, Honkai Star Rail 153, Genshin Impact 150. So the 99%, 80, 76, 141, 141, 140. So not a massive difference, right, for the majority, right? And then you got your standard deviation again. And it seems like, at the minute, Genshin seems to have the biggest standard deviation there as well. The median is 79 on Genshin. Enfield, 58. We were at 68. So, it's better on the mean, the medium, and the max observed. Well, actually, Wilbur takes it on the max observed, right? But, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But what you got to take into account there, though, as well, those are separate pools that you've either had to save, or you've had to split your premium currency. Don't have to do this here, right? You would have been halfway there just from that 120 pulls there. So, again, for me, just makes it better. Just makes it better, right? You know what I mean? The median being 120 means that half the people go to 120, I think, which makes sense, I guess. Yeah, so, obviously, your max observed is, like, worst case scenario, which I think is the best one to go for, right? We could look at, like, your medium and your mean and stuff like that, but for me, I think we'll keep it simple. We'll just go for the max observed, because I think that removes the RNG, right? Because when we're looking at the mean and the medium, we can look at all that sort of stuff, right? And be like, okay, and look at the 90% as well. I think the 90% and the 90%, 99% is probably the better way to go, because that's where majority is happening, right? And the max observed, because we're removing the RNG there, right? You know, and I think if we go for max observed, RNG's out the window there, right? Pretty much. Because what we're saying there, of course, you're not likely to do that all the time, but we're just saying this is worst case scenario. I think that's the best way to look at it, is worst case scenario, because it's just a bit simpler as well. We don't get too much into the weeds then, do we? But these other numbers are important as well to see what the average is as well. So, again, overall, Enfield's the best one. It just is, right? It just is. Pool distribution, KDE, the density plot below shows the probability distribution of pools. How to read: the higher the peak, the more likely that the specific pool count is the further left, i.e. lower, also means left is the context. The curve is the better, fewer pools needed. Okay. So, character banner distribution observation. Arknights Standard shows a distinct peak around 50 to 60 pools, indicating a low average cost. However, the long tail to the right, up to 200 plus, highlights the risk of the streak breaker system. We all know this. Everybody was saying this to me when it comes to Arknights as well. There was like, you're probably looking around 60 odd, man. That's where you're probably getting your units. And for the most of the time, seems to kind of be the thing. I've had the odd banner here and there where we've had to go quite deeper, but yeah, that feels like my experience, to be fair. Arknights Enfield, the 80 hard pity system is pretty much the same as WoW, but also displays a sharp cutoff at 120 pulls, demonstrating the hard safety net. Genshin, HSR, ZZZ all show similar distributions with peaks around 75 to 80 pulls, reflecting the standardized soft pity systems. So what's our colours here? So Enfield is our purple one here, whereas this blue line here. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Again, you know, we're Enfield kind of showing itself to be good there again. Weapon banner distribution observation. Arknights Enfield, the curve is shifted significantly to the left peak, 40 to 50, showing it's the easiest to obtain. So this is the weapon banner distribution. And then I don't think this is even going to be taken into account there, that those are also gained from your pool. So everything here is in here in a sense, where for the other games, it's all separate. So this is additionally as well, right? Which is, again, the ticket system is a game changer. I know a lot of people keep saying with Stellasaur as well, well, you got the ticket system, and I forgot what it's called now, the permits, right? You just don't get it anywhere near the amount, so it's not quite the same. But I get what people are saying with that. Wuthering Wave shows a very sharp, narrow peak at 80, reflecting the 100% guarantee. No 50-50 variance, makes sense. Genshin impact distribution is much flatter and extends further to the right, illustrating the high variance and potential costs of an epitomized path, which makes sense because of the way the banner systems work, right? You know, that's just basically, it's just giving you a visual representation of how the banners work there, right? We know the way the banners work in Enfield with the 25-75, but getting a 6-star at 40 and a guaranteed at 80, you know you're going to be somewhat in the middle. It just makes sense, right? And we know you've got a guarantee at 80 anyway, so that's going to reflect the majority, right, anyway. And it feels like we're Wuthering Waves anyway. Fuck, man. Hard pity's the way all the time, right? That's what it feels like. I don't know, what's your guys' experience in fucking WoW with the weapon banners? Because for me, like, I'd say like 1 or 2 in the entirety of playing that game felt like I got them below 50 pulls. I'd say like 90% of my banners on Wuthering Waves was 70 plus. Do you know what I mean? 70 plus. Funny problem with Enfield system is if you get the characters early, yeah, we spoke about this actually. I said this. The way the Enfield system's kind of set up is that you're kind of better off having to go deeper into pity because you get more Arsenal tickets and it gets you more weapons. But then like, you could get yourself into, now obviously this is all based on how lucky you are, of a good position in Enfield of like, let's say you go deep into pity a few times, you get a bunch of Arsenal tickets, right? You get lucky on the Arsenal tickets, so you get those earlier, so you got a little bit of extra Arsenal tickets, and then you start getting some banners come up, right? Where you go deep into them, but the character really isn't needing its signature weapon, and there's other additional weapons you can use, so you don't need to pull on the Arsenal tickets, and then you can potentially, now of course, this is based on the necessity for characters having signature weapons, your look on going deep on the characters that don't need the signature weapon. You could be in a position where you've got a nice bit of tickets. That's where you want to be in Enfield. You want to go deep into the pity on characters where you don't necessarily need the weapon, but then characters where you do need the weapon, get the character super early, but you've got the weapon pool, so you can just get the weapon anyway, and then you end up having the extra tickets for the next banners, you know what I mean? When you start talking about Enfield and the different things that can help you, it does sound a little bit more complex, but yeah, it kind of does help to go deeper in, if I'm honest, especially if you want the signature weapon and you haven't got the Arsenal tickets. It's a system where you get it early, you're like, fuck, shit, I've just got a pull now, if you really want the weapon, which I guess I can understand some people having an issue. That's where you can look at it from another way and be like, okay, maybe there's a weakness in the system there, right, to a degree. But overall, I think its positives outshine the negatives, right, if you ask me. Do we know if signature weapons will get added to a standard pool or get reruns? I don't think we know that just yet, do we? I think reruns are going to be a factor, but I don't know about standard pools and stuff. I don't know if every now and again signatures might pop up to be like buyable one times, like I'm not too sure. So yeah, I don't know about that. We'll try and find, well, hopefully we'll know more soon. Renegade might know more though. Renegade has been doing the digging in the beta, to be fair. He's the man to ask about little specific random things like that, like swimming animations. He's the guy. Box plots. Since I also wanted to show that even if averages are around 80 for the best of the systems, you can still be the outlier. I went with box plots as well. Box plots provide a clear comparison of the spread, medium, and outliers. How to read: the box contains the middle 50% of players, okay? The line inside the box is the medium, average-ish. The whiskers show the, well, is that what you call them in that? It's like wicks when I think of trading. They're candles, they're wicks. Anyway, I'm talking shit, I'm tangents. I digress. So, where was it? Yeah. So, the line inside the box is the medium, average-ish. The whiskers show the normal range. Dots are the outliers, unlucky people. Okay, so the dots are the unlucky people, and the box contains the 50% of players, right? Okay, and the line's the average. Okay. Arknights Standard has the lowest medium line inside the box, but the longest upper whisker, confirming high risk, high reward. Enfield has the shortest whiskers, confirming safety and no bad luck factor. Of course, you can still get lucky inside the average and get the character at one pull. Highly unlikely, but not unlucky outside of it. So basically, it's the 120 basically there. Is it? People say the pity's a safety net, but the 120's a safety net. If you've got the pulls, you don't have to go so far. It's your guaranteed safety net, less than the others, right? In terms of pull requirement in Wuthering Waves, the middle 50% of players on or the average Joe need a minimum of Q3 of approximately 113 pulls to get the featured max rarity character. So I was kind of right when I said this. I said I reckon it's around about 110 to 120 pulls to really get your character in Wuthering Waves. That feels like the anecdotal experience for me. And it seems like that kind of is the number. So, you know, when you think about it, the average there of what you're experiencing is going to be close to the guarantee in Enfield, right? But like, you know, that's obviously not the outliers and the people getting it under or over as well. This takes into account the lucky losers, ones who lose at 50-50 but win the guarantee very early, which could skew the results, but at least a set of 20 million. Law of large numbers kicks in and balances out. This also means if you are unlucky, you can go to 150 as well, and if you are lucky, you can get it in one, with that one being more likely, unlikely than 150. Second up is Enfield, where the middle is 50%, will need Q3, a max of Q3, 120 pulls to get the featured max rarity, but the same mean Q1 as we were, 65 to 67 to get the featured max rarity early, which makes sense because obviously the 50-50 and the spark. Genshin Impact stands out with the highest, medium, and the largest spread, confirming it is the most expensive and volatile. Wuthering Waves has the very compact box showing consistency. Enfield shows that the upper limit is 80, but getting the featured weapon in 40 is also very likely. Okay, so much so that it lies within the middle 50%. The average is also below every other system, so that means you can get on average the featured weapon more easily and cheaper with no bad luck factor. Interesting. But that, I suppose that makes sense though, because the rates are 4%, aren't they? So that makes sense really. Okay, so I think the outlier here is Genshin. That looks like it's it's just more expensive, right? Okay, cumulative probability. These plots show the chance of obtaining the item with X pulls. How to read: the steeper line vertically, the better. So steeper, better. A line that reaches 1.0, 100% quickly means you are guaranteed to get the specific featured item sooner. Getting an off banner doesn't count in this chart. Just the raw win curve of getting the banner item does. Observation: Arknights Enfield reaches 100% probability exactly at 120 pulls. Makes sense. The fastest guarantee among character banners also has the same uptick at 65 as Wua, except a bit lower since Wua has a different type of soft pity ramp up, but it shows that there is very solid chance of getting the featured rate up around 65 to 75 pulls for both Enfield and Wua. But I was told that this system is infinitely worse than Wuthering Waves. And then we're not even talking about the weapon stuff, so you know, Wuthering Waves reaches 100% at 160 pulls, hard pity times 2, which we know that. Genshin Impact, the curve is the slowest to reach 100% around 170 pulls, indicating the highest potential for a long chase, which we know because it's what? It's 90, isn't it? 90 for in Genshin, yeah, so you can get to 180, like, right? And we were at 80, so 160. So it's going to make sense because you're doing it in 10 less, right? Wuthering Waves just looked at Genshin's system and was like, let's just one-up it. So it makes sense that Wua's system and having the guarantee on the weapon is just going to be a better version of Genshin, right? It's Genshin, but better, right? And then the guarantee on the weapon weapon system, right? So, you know, it's pretty much just a better system than Genshin there, really. So it makes sense that the data says that, right? So so this is Arknights Standard, and then obviously we can see Enfield. This got to be Enfield, right? Yeah, Enfield here. Numbers, the lines pretty much in line with Wuthering Waves. Bang on, almost a little bit lower here. Pretty much in line with it. Drops off here and then bang. And then, you know, on average again early because look at this, because this is your guarantee, right? And then I'm assuming, where's Arknights? What colour's Arknights? Arknights is the brown line. So look at that though, man. That early line though in, what's it? But it's all about this, isn't it? It's all about this. Steep left is better. So yeah, man. Arknights, but then again though, Arknights, like, it is in on the standard. What is it? Like, usually, what, about 60, 65? It's not funny easy it is to tell someone only plays solo games out of all the different gacha mobile games. Weapon CDF observation. Arknights Enfield and Wuthering Waves both curves rise very sharply, indicating you are likely to get the weapon quickly. What? Okay, I'm an outlier then, because fuck, I never get the weapons quickly in Wuthering Waves. Tell a lie, I got Chang Li's weapon and her in 22 pulls. That was cracked. And then ever since that, it was like the game was like, that ain't happening again, brother. And it was like 70 fucking pulls pretty much every bastard time, man. I swear to God, my web, like, it was always the thing in Wuthering Waves. It's like, I know I've got the pulls to get the character sorted, but I really don't think I've got the power to get the weapon. You know what I mean? I just can't do it, Captain. I just don't have the power. Rough. It was rough. The amount of times I missed out on weapons in Wuthering Waves is because, you know, I just wasn't willing to spend to just get the weapon. It did my head in. So, Arknights Enfield and Wuthering Waves, both curves rise very sharply, indicating you are likely to get the weapon quickly. Genshin Impact, the curve is much shallower, requiring significantly more pulls to reach higher probability levels due to the 3-pull guarantee system. Yeah, again, nothing shocking there. Enfield, the purple line, see the rates are just better overall, really, and then bang, you know, Wuthering Waves, tails behind, Enfield, but then really shoots up here, doesn't it? So, okay. All right. I don't think there's anything there to shock us. Value analysis, getting your money's worth. Okay. Because this is my average win rate at weapon in Wuthering Waves at 70. Right? I swear to God. Like, I know some people have spoke sometimes and like, dude, I swear pity's not a thing in the weapon banners in Wuthering Waves. I'm sure it is, but like, you know, I've thought that sometimes. I'm like, and I'm lying. You know, is pity not existing more than in Waves? But yeah, I've just got bad luck with the weapon banners, man. You know. How come Enfield has a higher chance of getting the weapon early with 25% chance and with a 100% chance? Try explaining to some people. Well, yeah, rates matter to people when it suits them, and then they ignore rates when it doesn't as well, don't they? And then the fact that, you know, again, there's not even taking Arsenal tickets. Right then, so value analysis, getting your money's worth, because I said it's up to you to decide what's better. End of the day, right? And at the end of the day, better is all dependent on how much an individual cost pulls in US dollars, in Great British pounds, in Japanese currency, Chinese currency, your local currency. That's a factor. And the other factor is how many pulls do you get while playing the game? Two most important things there, right? The system at the end of the day really doesn't matter if the game doesn't give you very many pulls and the pulls themselves are expensive. That really good system can go out the window, and that really bad system can then turn to really good because the game's really generous. So, I said, separating the gacha game, the beta at the minute from Enfield, I think the value per pull is higher because it just takes less pulls. If pity's more important, then you want the pity. I don't think it is, but if that's the safety net you require, then subjectively you're going to think that's a better system. Wuthering Waves, you know, Genshin, Star Rail, Zenless, all the games that have guarantee carryovers and all that sort of stuff, they're going to be a better system to you. Because a lot of people are getting me mad about that, right? Because I said, end of the day, I'm not here to tell you the Enfield system is better. I'm just here to tell you, it looks to me like it's more valuable per pull. But again, the beta economy sucks. So you add that together, it's not quite true at the moment. But they've acknowledged it, so on launch, hopefully that's different, right? We'll have to wait and see for that. But just in terms of the vacuum of pulls, that's my opinion. So let's see what this says then. So, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same because of what we read on the TLDR and what we've seen, right? So this section where I want everyone to lock in, this section looks at the collateral value, which is the bread and butter on average Arknights player. Imagine you go to the store to buy a specific TV, high collateral, you buy the TV, and they also give you a free blender and a toaster on the way out, plus 2 kitties and a smooch. Hey, sounds like a good shot, man. Low collateral, you buy the TV and you get just a TV, maybe the store owner gives you a smooch, but that smooch doesn't count, and he's a big fat greasy dude. What it means is on your journey to get the featured banner item, the other valuables you get on the way to it. Valuables here is subjective, of course. Perfect example, or PP. The most valuable extra. That was the best smooch ever, right? I didn't go in for the smooch, but I'm fucking glad I came out with the smooch, right? I coded them as an additional 5 stars, 6 stars for base Arknights and Enfield. Character weapons, character/weapons you get. Collateral value, observation. Weapons, Arknights Enfield, is leaps ahead of everyone else, yielding 1.8 extra off-banner 6-star weapons per featured weapon. So essentially, an average Joe gets 2 extra weapons every time they go for a banner featured weapon. That's massive, right? That is massive. As I said, that 120 on Enfield is guaranteeing you 2 6 stars and at least 1 6-star weapon, right? And then that's not even encountering if you got better luck on the characters and got more 5 stars. Maybe you lost 2 50/50s on the way up to the 120 and you're rocking even more. You get even luckier on the weapon banners as well. Like, the potential is much higher. It just is, right? So, the stats back that up there as well. So an average Joe gets 2 extra weapons every time they go for a banner featured weapon. Wuthering Waves has 0 collateral because 100% guarantee prevents any loss pulls. Safer, but it's less risk, less reward, right? You know? And as I say, some people will rather that. They'd rather just run up to 80 and get it. And there'd be no deviation from that, right? They know exactly what they're getting. They get it early, buzzing, right? And that's fair. If you like that, that's fair. I can understand that. Characters, base Arknights Limited provide immense value. 0.9 extra 6-star characters due to the high base rate and 300 pull spark, allowing for many losses. So, this is obviously base Arknights, which are actually wins in terms of total unit count along the way. Second up is Enfield, since it is slightly above everyone else, 0.66 extra 6 stars per featured character. This also debunks you can lose 119 50/50s before the guarantee. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god, I'm so happy about this. I know what people are talking about. Some people, when they were talking about you can have unlimited 50/50 losses, what they were talking about is if you went to 80, you lost your 50/50, didn't do any more pulls, did it on the next banner, on the next banner, on the next banner. After 2 times of doing that, I'm sorry to say, you're fucking stupid, right? That's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. The game tells you, it's probably not a good idea to do that here, bro. And you're like, nah, I'm building pity. Alright, whatever. But the amount of people that I saw was saying, you can have unlimited 50/50 losses up to your guarantee. Like, bro, honestly, you know, if I got 119 fucking 6 stars on the way to sparking my character, I'm calling that a good fucking banner. It's not happening, man. You know what I mean? It's just not happening. So, before the guarantee, 30s Wuthering Waves with 0.5 extra off-banner 5-star characters per featured 5-star. The pulls will never be enough, even if they give you more pulls at launch. I will still make sure you won't get... Oh, of course. You have to accept, as a free-to-play player, guys, you're not going to get everything. It's a business at the end of the day, right? You're just not going to get everything. They're going to give you... The way these games are designed, give you just enough to make you want to spend, right? It's just how it is. 120 pulls, not carryover sucks because it's too restrictive. 180 pulls, 106 pulls, don't matter because you can win early. Exactly right, yeah. The rates aren't matter for shit. Look at a Grand Blue Fantasy, shit fucking rates, not pretty, but you're able to spark min 3 times a year because they give currency. Exactly right, yeah, exactly. If you are getting currency all the time, that's the main thing, right? I said the worst gacha system in the world can be pretty good if the game's generous, and the best system in the world can be absolute dog shit. It's why, like, it's kind of like, it's arbitrary until you start to attach everything to it. How much does a pull cost in real cash, and how many pulls do you get while you're playing it right? So where was we? The 30s Wuthering Waves, 0.5 extra off banner 5-star characters per featured 5-star. Jesus Christ, I can't even talk at the minute. So yeah, nothing shocking about that as well there, right? We know with the weapons banner for Wuthering Waves, you just get the weapon. You're going to get a lot of garbage up to the weapon, but you're just going to get the weapon. Cost of gold. This is another very important section, which shows the bang for your buck. Again, I said I think Enfield has the best bang for your buck. So let's see. Or the average pulls an average Joe will need for any max rarity item. Why is Joe always average? I feel sorry for all the Joes, man, because you're just average, right? Well, the need for any max rarity item. So, on the average pulls that you'll need for any max rarity item, it can be 50/50 loss or a win. This just shows how expensive it is for a player to pull any 6-star character weapon, character/weapon, not necessarily a rated one, okay? All right? So we got that there. It's just the good shit. It doesn't matter if it's the right good shit, it's just the good shit, yeah? So, Observation. Characters from low to high. Base Arknights, standard and unlimited, offers the lowest cost per 5-star, 34 pulls, making it the most generous in terms of raw, high rarity quantity. I remember when everyone kept telling me that when they were talking about Celosaur as well, that Arknight sucks. I don't know about that. Next is Enfield at 49 pulls, which means the average Joe will get any 6-star at around 49 pulls, which it makes sense considering you got the 50-50 at 80, but that's below the pity as well, which is actually crazy, right? Third is Wuthering Waves, around 55 pulls. Genshin Impact Star Rail and ZZ are the most expensive at 62 pulls for 5-star, which when you look at the difference there between Arknights low to the Hoyo game, that's big, right? Almost double. You know what I mean? Like, obviously these are not so much, you know. Still 49 to 62, you know, that's still a good chunk of pulls, man. That's still 13 pulls, 7 pulls between Wuwa, but man, Arknights out here just cheesing. Analysis and verdict. All right, character systems. Arknights Enfield, deterministic cost cap. Advantage, 120 pull spark provides the most robust safety net against extreme bad luck. I was told that you meant it for thinking that. The most robust safety net, guys, is pity carrying over, apparently, because that's the most important safety net in gacha games, apparently. Although it's a psychological thing to get you to pull more, because you think it's actually a safety net, when in fact it's kind of a bit of a trick to get you to pull on banners that you don't want as well, because people think that. Well, I'm almost there, man. Oh, fuck it, I'll just pull on this banner I don't care about. That's where, like I say, you know, you have to plan a little bit sometimes in gacha games. You can use the system to your advantage or get used by the system, right? Value the system yields a high collateral return, 0.66 extra 5 stars, maximizing value per pull. Arknights base standard, high variance, low mean cost. Advantage, lowest average cost, 66 pulls due to favorable base rates. Risk, the 150 pull street breaker allows for significant variance, with worst case scenarios exceeding 190 pulls. We know that, right? You know that. You know, you can get cooked sometimes in Arknights, but on average, it feels pretty good, right? That's why a lot of people coming from Arknights get the idea of planning for your banners, right? And then obviously take into account as well. And I know we're talking standard here, but you know, when it comes to limited and standard, so you know, you pick and choose your banners, right? And I think that's already kind of a learned way of dealing with gacha in Arknights and other games as well. So people coming into Enfield will look at this and go, well, I'm used to this, so whatever. So Wuthering Waves, consistent efficiency. Advantage, lower average cost and industry standard due to early soft pity onset pull 66. So cost and consistent efficiency for Wuthering Waves, great. Genshin Impact performance, the 55-45 Radiance mechanic offers a marginal improvement over the standard 50-50, reducing average cost by 3 pulls compared to HSR and ZZZ. HSR and ZZZ standard model. Baseline, these systems represent the industry standard at 0.6 rate, 50-50, serving as a baseline cost for comparison. Weapon systems, Arknights Enfield, high collateral yield. We know that, right? There's a lot of good stuff in there as well. 4% base rates result in frequent high rarity drops, which we know that. There's a lot of options to get other stuff, and the 4% I think is incredibly underestimated by people. You know, people just looked at the 75-25, ignore the 4%, you know, which was crazy. Wuthering Waves, deterministic acquisition, advantage, 100% guarantee eliminates the risk of losing the 50-50, ensuring predictable cost, which we know that, right? You know, guarantee on the weapon banner. It's not a bad thing at all. It's not a bad thing at all. It just feels like always go so deep. And the fact that it means using or splitting your currency that you could potentially be using on other banners into it as well, right? Which for me is a massive trade-off in all of these games that I really like about Enfield. Trade-off, 0 collateral value pulls yield on the target's item. Yeah, pretty much every other item you're going to get in that banner is going to be fucking dog shit, right? It's literally just going to... There's no pulls in the weapon banner in Wuthering Waves where it's like, oh, nice. I'm glad I got that, right? It's just not happening, especially now. Maybe in the first fucking month of the game, you might have been like, oh, I can use that. Now it's just a bunch of garbage, right? Genshin Impact, high resource investment. Risk, the epitomized path requires up to 3 5-star pulls to guarantee the target, resulting in the highest average cost, 106 pulls. Ranking, best to worst character banners. Okay, here we go. This is just a nice, simple list for us to look at now. Number 1, Arknights. base, standard banners, lowest average, high variance. 2, Arknights Enfield, best safety and consistency. Man, that word safety again, it's like, you know, pity's the real safety, bro. Come on, don't you know? It's the worst system ever, bro. Look, worst system, fuck, worst system ever. You know, actually, worst system ever. It's diabolical, guys. You can't think otherwise. You can't tell me otherwise. So at number 3, Wuthering Waves, great average, which is always good to hear, right? The average is important, you know, because it's going to be most people's experience as well. 4, Genshin Impact, slightly better odds than standard. Zenless is standard. Honkai is standard. Arknights base, limited, highest cost but extreme collateral value, which we know about, right? Because this is the whole point why people save for limited banners in Arknights, right? Because this is where I say people, at least in that regard, coming from Arknights, I'll be like, okay, I can deal with this part of Enfield because I'm used to it. I'm built for this shit, bro. I've been trained for this shit for the last 5 years, you know? So, and again, the extreme collateral value is great, right? It is the highest cost, but best 50-50 loss ever. That's all I'll say, right? That's all I'll say. Like, some of the losses you can get in Arknights, man, it's like, I don't even care, right? I don't even care that I fucking lost the 50-50 there because, like, the 50-50 was just fucking cracked. That's a good thing about Arknights. So, yeah. So, yeah, you can see Arknights takes it, Enfield, then we were. So, we got gold, silver, bronze. But apparently, this really should be, we were at number 1 and Arknights Enfield at the bottom right because I've seen so many videos. Worst system ever. Weird, that one. Best to worst weapon banners, Arknights Enfield. Again, I was told it was a shit system because of 25-75. Just hearing that, people were like, it's trash. Wuthering Waves, best consistent safety. Makes sense because you got the guarantee. But yeah, Zenless on 0, good base rate. Honkai Star Rail standard. Genshin Impact most expensive, high collateral. So, well, if you were here, thank you so much for taking the time to go through these. I hope it shed some light on the gacha systems, not just Enfield, but others as well. Helped you understand them. Please let me know if there are any discrepancies. This took a long time, a long while to write down and organise, so if there are any typos and such, please ignore them. FYI, HSR's 50-50 is closer to 56. 44 pool trackers confirmed this. I don't know if this was ever officially confirmed, but it's speculated that the rate up characters included in the standard pool, so you could still win even when you lose a 50-50. It's confirmed. Okay. All right then. So yeah, again, there's potentially some inconsistencies here, but I think this is personally, and I'm not just saying this because it kind of confirms a statement I made about Enfield. It's not because I'm like, I like this game more, so it has to be correct. I think if you just look at the numbers, take away your connection and your attachment to your favorite game, take away this idea that pity is the most important thing when it comes to pulling characters, and just look at the raw numbers, right? Just look at the raw numbers. It's not only just here, but if you just look at the system, you don't even need all this math to get it right. You just don't even need all this math. It's good to get this because you've got data here to talk about things, and I think it's interesting to talk about these things, but you know, bro said he's going to skim through the post and... I know, I couldn't help myself. I found it interesting. I think it's interesting, man. I don't know if you guys found that interesting. I thought it was actually interesting. So, yeah, it looks like, really, if you want the most valuable pulls, Arknights standard banners, in this, the 3D Big 4 argument, which is such an asinine argument anyway, looks like Enfield giving you the best value on characters and weapons. But if you want a consistent experience, Wuthering Waves is going to give you that one because the weapon banner makes a massive skew towards that because it's a guarantee. You're never going to fail it. But again, as I say, you're getting so many more pulls. You're getting so many more units earlier here. And then that rolls into this as well because it's all attached. So it just is the better system, right? But yeah, of course, I'm not saying it's the best gacha system in the world. I'm not that guy. But I just think it's good that people are talking about this because this idea that it's the worst system ever, it's just not true, right? It's just not true. And if you look at it, the system itself, it's actually all right, man. It's actually all right. Yeah, but yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think.